Hello and welcome to Shoot the Hostage with me, Dan, and my partner, Sarah. We're a movie podcast who talks about a different film each week based on a theme. We do swear and we do spoil the featured movie, so only ever listen if you've seen the film or you don't care too much about spoilers. If you're a regular listener, you can just skip forward until you hear the intro music because you've heard all of this before. But if you are new to the show and you do enjoy what you hear, there are a couple of things you can do to help support the show. Firstly, make sure that you're subscribed on your podcast player so you get notified when new shows drop on Mondays. You could rate us 5 stars on Spotify, which couldn't be easier. You just hit the star icon below the show's artwork. Or if you have a spare few minutes, we'd love it if you could submit a review wherever you listen. Make sure you come follow us at STH_pod on social media. We are active on Instagram, Threads and TikTok. And lastly, the biggest thing you can do to help is tell a friend about the show. So that's about it. That's enough preamble from me. Over to me and Sarah for this week's episode. Well, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a season of apologies, hasn't it? We could have called this the apology season.
We should have done.
This week it's my turn to apologise, isn't it?
Again.
Again? Last week you apologised for Tank Girl.
I did.
Well, I requested an apology. Did I get it?
I think I apologised.
In writing?
Oh, no, I've not done it in writing.
Okay.
I didn't have any idea you expected such a formality from me.
Okay, you've got 6 working days, 6 business days, and then I expect it'll be in a post in the next few days. Anyway.
In the post? We live together. I think you can sit and spin, darling.
Just go and pay £3.50 for a stamp or whatever it is they fucking cost now.
Yeah.
Someone the other day, I was talking to them and they were like, I just can't believe how much stamps are now. I was like, what are they, about 40p?
No.
Because last time I bought a stamp, I think they were 24p.
What?
Yeah.
Was that in 2007?
It was probably in 2001 when I procured the movie Driven.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I'm very sorry. First time you've ever watched this movie, I believe.
It was.
Although you've seen bits of it.
Well, you watch it frequently.
Yeah.
So I have been in the room and experienced parts of this. Scenes in isolation.
Yeah, you've seen some scenes in isolation, which we'll probably get into some of the scenes.
Sure.
But for context, we've lived together for what, 3 years now?
Yes.
And I've watched this 4 times in this house.
At least.
I think it's 4. It could be 5, but I think it's 4.
Well, we've gone 2 weeks without recording. A little bit of a peek behind the curtain there. And you couldn't wait 2 weeks to watch this movie.
No.
So while I was away, you watched it and then watched it again with me last night.
Because we were out of the rhythm. I was like, usually I'd get back and we'd watch the movie, or we would have already watched it by then. And I was so excited to watch this film.
You were so keen to watch this absolute piece of shit that you couldn't wait a week.
Yes. And I won't be defending all of this movie. I will be defending some of it.
But I feel like it's just going to be a role reversal of last week, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Although there's less kangaroo penis in Driven.
Well, there wasn't any kangaroo penis in Tank Girl. We discussed that at length.
But they didn't even shoot any kangaroo penis.
There's the same amount of kangaroo penis in both films.
But no kangaroo penis was ever made.
That we know of.
Who knows what goes on behind the scenes
Precisely.
in Sly's life. I think, should we start with, do you know what I want to do actually? Something we very rarely do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we did it maybe earlier on in seasons 1 and 2, but I'm going to read the synopsis on the back of my old school DVD cardboard case with the annoying little clicker thing.
It's been a season of those because my Empire Records is one of those.
Yeah.
Battlefield Earth was one of those before we torched it in the garden.
Yeah. Emphasis on was one of those. It's destroyed now.
Yeah. We took one out of circulation.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
We're doing our bit. So I'm going to read the synopsis on the back of this thing because...
Are you assuming that nobody else in the world has watched this film? Because that would probably be safe.
Probably. Yeah, so it's probably important for a bit of context. Okay, so Driven, a fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping action drama set in the Formula One Championship season.
Is it though?
No. How are they getting away with that? How is
don't know.
fucking Bernie Eccleston allowing that? It's not Formula One season. It's the kart season.
Yeah, even I know that.
Yeah, which is not even, which doesn't even exist anymore. It got absorbed into the Indy 500. So yeah, top racing driver Jimmy Bly, Kip Pardue. Remember the Titans? Do you remember them?
Oh, was he in that?
Apparently.
Because he's in quite a few films that I quite like.
We've covered one of them.
Oh, yes, he was in 13.
I can't believe it's our second Kip Pardue movie.
Yeah, who I realised upon doing my research that I often get confused with Gabriel Mann.
Who is also a human person.
Yeah, they're both sort of long-faced, blonde American men.
Okay.
Interchangeable.
Okay, so they perhaps could have done a better job than Kip Pardue in this movie.
Are you suggesting that Kip Pardue didn't do a good job in this movie?
I'm suggesting that no one did a good job in this movie, right? in a film where you could say maybe perhaps Til Schweiger was the best actor. Like, I thought
probably Burt Reynolds, right?
I don't know. I think it's more to do with the script and the lack of.
Just finish the synopsis first. We can't even get through this without tearing this film apart.
I didn't remember the Titans, but he was in that. So Jimmy Bly is having trouble performing on the track. Circuit. To try to improve the situation, car owner Cole Henry, Burt Reynolds, Boogie Nights, in case you didn't know.
In case you didn't know who the Burt Reynolds was.
In case he wasn't sure who Burt Reynolds is, yeah. He calls in Joe Tanto.
I can't, there aren't words for how much I hate that name.
Joe Tanto. Yeah, terrible name. Oh, terrible names all round.
Yeah.
Joe Tanto is played by Sylvester Stallone, didn't you know? He's a former racing champion whose career was laid to rest after he was almost killed in a tragic accident, which you don't really, there's one line of that in the film and it's brushed over very quickly. Feels important. More sparks fly as Bly indulges in an affair with Sophia, Estella Warren, brackets, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, name one of the films she was in.
I know.
Yeah, precisely.
Girlfriend of his number one rival. And then it doesn't mention Til Schweiger.
Oh.
Bo Brandenburg. That's another good name, isn't it? BB, Bo Brandenburg.
Yes, but apparently it was ridiculed in Germany because it doesn't sound like a German name.
Right, okay.
Because they really hyped up the fact that Til Schweiger was one of Germany's biggest stars at the time. So they really hyped up the marketing in Germany. And
Did they?
The German public were very disappointed.
Renny Harlin, brackets, Deep Blue Sea, directs a totally testosterone-driven experience involving fast cars, sexy girls, and cutting-edge film technology, enabling the viewer to experience racing in excess of 240 miles an hour.
Was the cutting-edge technology in the scene where Sylvester Stallone's CGI head is pasted atop a car?
Yeah. They didn't even get the proportions correct.
No, they did not.
You were making notes at the time. I was like, you got to watch this.
Yeah, you're going to want to see this.
Yeah. We're going to want to talk about this situation. Yeah. So yeah, there's a synopsis for you. I mean, totally inaccurate. So it's our first Renny Harlin movie. Let's start with
Probably last.
It was nominated for a Razzie. Unsurprising.
I mean, in this season, it's sort of expected, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Battlefield Earth won the Razzie, I believe.
Well, it was worst film of the decade.
That's right. It was. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it was also a franchise pictures movie, which is what this is.
Oh, yeah. I knew there was a connection.
Not the greatest track record there.
No.
And obviously they went out of business, I think a couple of years after this came out because of Battlefield Earth. And go and listen to our show covering that if you want to dig into that. But yeah.
Or if you just hate Scientologists.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're a Scientologist, maybe don't listen to that episode. Yeah. You're not going to enjoy it.
If your surname is Miscarriage, you heard nothing. Go away.
We've got nothing. Yeah. So first, Renny Harlin. You said it'll probably be our last, but will it?
Well, what else do you want to cover?
I'm not the biggest Renny Harlin fan.
Good.
I'm not a fan of Die Hard 2. Elm Street 4, we might get to that at some point. It's not the worst in that in that last half of the original run movies, but it's not great.
So we've done 2 movies on the bounce directed by people who went on to do Nightmare on Elm Street sequels.
Yes.
Rachel Talalay.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, lots of New Line House of Freddy connections. Yeah, you're absolutely right. What is your favourite Renny Harlin movie?
Deep Blue Sea.
Of course. Are we going to perhaps do a Shark season? A Thomas Jane season?
We're never likely to do a Thomas Jane season.
LL Cool J season?
We could maybe do Samuel L. Jackson.
You've got 1,052 movies to choose from.
Of all the people in that movie, it would be him, right?
I guess so.
It's terrible. It's really bad. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of actually good shark movies.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of shark movies.
There are a lot of shark movies. I don't hate the idea of doing a shark season. Maybe we'll just put a pin in that. But my point is that it's probably not going to be our last Renny Harlin movie.
Oh, okay.
Not a huge fan of Cliffhanger, but you could do mountain climbing season. Or what's the other one that he did? A Long Kiss Goodnight is a good movie.
Yeah.
Do like a spies thing.
I guess so.
Maybe would be interesting maybe to get to that.
That Dyatlov Pass one. We could do a found footage season.
Yeah, there's that. So there are options. This is not going to be our last Renny Harlin movie.
Maybe I'll rage quit the podcast at the end of this show. There you go.
Maybe.
That's how I'll make it come true.
I'll replace you with an AI version of you. There's enough.
Oh no, you could.
There's enough episodes now that we've done that I could probably replace you with a Sarah avatar powered by AI. That's previous episodes.
Absolutely possible, and I kind of hate that. Oh no.
It won't be the same.
No. Where else are you going to get the true acerbic nonsense that I come out with? It needs to be organic, man.
I can't believe it's the first Sly movie we're doing.
I'm surprised, actually.
I'm a big fan of Stallone. There's a lot of his movies that I revisit quite a lot. I find a lot of his movies are quite kind of comfort movies to me.
Which ones are your favourites then?
Rocky 3 and 4.
Okay.
Demolition Man.
Okay, yeah.
Driven. Obviously Creed, but that's more of a Michael B. Jordan movie. He's done other films. Not
He has, yes.
Not Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. Rambo, I quite enjoy a couple of the Rambo movies.
Okay.
Just silly, stupid fun. Yeah, there's a few that I sort of revisit quite fairly often.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely get to some more of these as well, I think. You mentioned, and I didn't realise, but it's our second Gina Gershon movie.
It is, yeah. Yeah, first being Face Off.
Yeah. This is, you might call this movie an ensemble piece.
And amongst other things, yeah.
And yes, you're right. It is. This is after Face Off. So is it?
Yeah.
Could this perhaps be a sequel to Face Off, where that character sort of? Oh no.
Not if she was previously married to Sylvester Stallone. She wouldn't have had time.
Was she married to Sylvester Stallone?
In Driven.
Oh, in Driven. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant in real life.
Please tell me you haven't missed like a major plot point in your 57 watches of this movie.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have had time because in Face Off she was shacking up with her brother. I'm convinced of it. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't have had time. Therefore, not in the Face Off universe.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about how this movie came about, shall we?
Oh, I'm all ears, please.
But after, I think Sly was promoting the excellent movie Judge Dredd,
which we also brought up last week.
Yeah. And it was a contender for this season.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, I believe, on the marketing. What's the word? When you go on the journey to market things, marketing. He was doing the publicity
just
tour,
the promotional circuit.
Promotional circuit. Yeah, he was doing that thing when he talk at journalists and go, "Yeah, my movie's brilliant, even if it's shit."
Yeah.
And he was doing that, and he caught some F1 in Europe, and so kind of got the buzz while promoting that movie.
Oh right. I'd assumed, because I read that he'd been trying to make an F1 movie for a long time. So I'd assumed it was like some lifelong obsession.
Well, it may have been a lifelong obsession, but I think perhaps when he was doing it in the mid-90s, because, Judge Dredd is 95, I think. So there's 6 years between Judge Dredd and Driven. But I believe, that he might have been wanting to do that for a while, but that's when he took it seriously and started writing his first of 40 drafts that he wrote for this.
40 drafts?
Yeah, it's quite a few, yeah.
Holy shit, and this was the best they could come up with.
Yeah.
I did read that the script was 220 pages long.
Yeah.
Which is insanity.
Yeah. You're coming up to like 4 hours.
At least.
Based on that script,
Yeah.
And there was a longer cut of this movie and they had to chop it right down.
Oh no. Yeah. What a shame.
But he wanted to make a movie, and it's just so happened that his mate, Renny Harlin, who worked on directed Cliffhanger with Sly, also wanted to make a movie about racing, but he wanted to make a movie about Ayrton Senna.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen for whatever reason, probably because he's Renny Harlin, and they're like, the estate of Senna is like, you're not gonna. And also, like, if he was trying to make a movie about Senna in like 1995, like,
that's too soon.
Give us some time, mate. It was a year after Senna's death. Like, can we let his corpse like cool down a bit first, please?
Yeah.
And I don't love that. But then obviously you got that great As If Kip Pardue documentary about Senna. But there hasn't been a feature about Senna to date that I'm aware of. Perhaps there is, but there will be one day. But he couldn't get it made, is my point. So what they decided to do.
You mean they weren't like, oh yes, we'll entrust this man's legacy with the director of Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah. Oh, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, the worst Die Hard movie out of the original 3. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen, Mr. Harling. How about you join forces with Sly, and then you can get your heads together and just like crack out an absolute masterpiece. But Sly actually did want to make it about Formula One, but he couldn't strike a deal with them, which blows my mind that they're allowed to mention it on the DVD case because it's not Formula One. And then that's when they decided to make it about kart, which is what's that thing when you go lots of words, big one word, big lots of them, and then you shrink it to like the letters, but it's always a clever like kart. But it stands for Championship Auto Racing Teams. It's called the thing.
Like ALF is alien life form.
Yeah. You make it smaller, but it's clever. Or Daryl is like a... Can you remember what Daryl stands for?
No.
Data also living...
That's DAL.
I don't know. Yeah, and then that's the story of the development of Driven. 40 drafts, got it down to... Well, I suppose it was the last draft, and they were like, "Yeah, we've nailed this. We're going to film this. We're going to shoot this now." The original cut was some 4.5 hours, which got chopped down.
Are we sure that there wasn't a mistake somewhere along the line, and they accidentally went with draft 1 instead of draft 40?
Someone played a trick on them. It was April the 1st, and someone snuck into the trailer and just like wrote the number 40 from the bottom of the pile. They swapped them around. And like, oh yeah, that's good. Let's do that.
So, do you know what the budget was for this?
Yeah, the budget was 72 million. I thought it was 90, but 72 million.
Holy shit. Is that our most expensive film this season?
It might be.
I think it is,
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Obviously not giving away what we're doing for the last two. But,
no, but I don't think they are more than that.
No. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I would be surprised too. But yeah, grossed 55 million apparently worldwide. So on paper, a loss of about 18 million quid.
It did better than I thought.
Well, it was quite heavily marketed, I think. I remember seeing a trailer a few times at the cinema.
I don't remember it at all. Unless, I don't know, unless I was just like, cars, and blocked it out.
Blocked it out, yeah, possibly. I remember seeing a trailer and being quite excited for it. I don't remember seeing it at the cinema, but I don't know what I would have wanted to.
Yeah.
So there would have been a reason that I didn't, if I didn't, in 2001. The reason might have been that I was a poor student, to be fair.
Maybe.
But yeah, I remember it being marketed quite a lot back then, and I was kind of excited to watch it. I remember buying it on DVD eventually, and then getting rid of it, selling it to like Music Magpie for like 8p or whatever.
And then buying it again.
About 15 years later, yeah. Now I'm in the money. I'm going to spend £1 on that. I'm down like £2 on driven money, but...
So this cost you less money than Battlefield Earth?
Yeah, I suppose it did. And I've had way more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. This film opens with one of my least favourite techniques, and that is the montage.
Not a fan of the montage?
I'm not a fan of the montage, no. I will accept a montage if it's well placed, but straight out of the gate is not well placed.
What about Rocky IV then, which the whole movie is pretty much montage?
I don't give a shit about Rocky IV.
Okay.
Sorry.
He punches communism. Oh dear. I'm not a fan of the montage opening then, because there's a few of these montages.
Oh, there are, but the opening one was the most egregious.
Was it like we're racing now in this place, and then what was it? It was just introducing you to the.
There was a lot of
racing.
place names coming up on screen. The editing was insane.
Yeah,
and started to make me feel a little bit nauseous. Like 2 minutes in.
Yeah, I don't think I noticed it until my first viewing for the podcast. How choppy the editing is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts. It's quite. It makes you feel quite sick, actually, in more ways than one. But it also introduces you to the hotshot young driver Jimmy Bly, and he's obviously the best thing. Like, it's the same in all of these driving movies. There's always a driver that's got the skill, but he just needs to overcome this little like psychological pressure thing. It's the same in Days of Thunder. It's the same in Need for Speed. It's the same in any fucking movie that's on my shelf, really, that features cars.
Yeah.
Which is quite a lot.
As most of them, yeah.
Gran Turismo.
45%.
Yeah.
I did see a review on Letterboxd that called this Days of Blunder.
I like that. Yeah.
Which I enjoyed quite a lot.
Have you seen Days of Thunder?
Yeah, of course.
Have you? It's I prefer this to Days of Thunder.
No.
Yeah, I do. But
really?
There's no way that it's a better movie, yeah.
What about this do you prefer?
I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Cruise, I guess. I don't like I was going to say the sentimentality in that film, but then also this is like a soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
In many places.
With the whole love triangle and the...
Yeah.
You can be the best, man.
Yeah.
That very American sort of... I don't know, it's not patriotism, is it? It's just... Do you know what it is? It's male dominance in the sport.
Yeah. Someone should write an article about that.
They should. It's not going to be the journalist in this movie, though.
No. Called Lucretia.
Lucretia, yeah. Luke, for short.
Yeah. Why do I prefer this? I think, well, it's open wheel racing, so it's closer to Formula One, and I think Days of Thunder is NASCAR, I think, if I remember rightly. So I'm not a huge fan of NASCAR. So there's that. And also perhaps Sly might be the difference there, because I'm a big even in this I think he's actually all right in this. I think he does what he needs to do. He's not in it as much as I would like, and apparently
he's not in it as much as Sylvester Stallone would like. Right,
because I do know that in some of his drafts he was actually the main character, and there were lots of different versions of this story. Yeah,
that's what I read. Apparently, I don't know if they ever made up, but apparently this sort of put an end to his friendship with Renny Harlin.
Really?
Yes, because he had intended for his character, Joe Tanto. I hate that those words came out of my mouth.
It's time to call Joe Tanto.
He wrote it with that character being the protagonist. But obviously, when Renny Harlin showed him the first edit, they'd taken out like a bunch of Sly's scenes, and made it so that Jimmy Bly was the main character instead, and he didn't like that the focus had been shifted.
Yeah, on the commentary, Harlin
was it just a director's commentary? Or?
Yeah, it was just Renny. Ren. We call each other. I call him Ren.
Do you?
Yeah.
On such good terms.
He seems like such a good dude.
No, I don't know much about him.
I don't know much about him other than what I heard him talk about in the commentary, which...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not great. We'll get into it, I'm sure. What were we talking about? Remind me.
Well, they fell out.
They fell out. Because
Sly wanted to be in the movie more.
Right. So that's right. Harlin had decided that, well, the first cut was way too long. They needed to chop it down. He felt that the more interesting parts of the film were with the younger characters, and he just thought that was younger and sexier, and the kind of people that are going to be watching this PG movie.
Is it PG?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, are going to be more inclined to relate to the younger characters more. But I don't know. Like, this was sold as a Stallone movie. It was written by Stallone. Like, he's on the front cover. It's a Stallone movie.
Wasn't he one of the producers as well?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's his baby. Like, it's his vehicle, if you will. It's a Sly vehicle. It should have been a Sly vehicle.
Yeah.
But for some reason, 3 days before shoot started, they cast Kip Pardue.
3 days before the shoot.
Which is why he doesn't look like a racing driver. Or
what does a racing driver look like for the uninitiated?
An athlete.
Right.
Like
okay.
you can be skinny and lean, or you can be a bit bulkier or whatever. But you need, well, certainly with your neck muscles, you've got to be a proper athlete to withstand the kind of G-forces that your body goes through, and just for the endurance to drive 60, 80 laps. 100 laps, I think, in some of these races in this movie, you've got to be really fit. The sweat that pours off of you, the body mass that you lose, you've got to be super fit. It's not like you can just jump in a car and just drive it around 3 days before.
I'm so uninitiated in this. Like, obviously, it's not going to come as a surprise to anybody listening that you are a massive fan of cars in general.
I like cars.
You do? You like cars?
Oh, a big masculine man. I like cars.
It's probably one of the few sort of stereotypically male pursuits that you have.
Yeah, it is. Don't like football.
Yeah.
Give me a car, though.
But I'm not very well versed. I don't even drive. So you might have to dumb down some of it.
You want me to dumb down Driven?
No, not the film.
Right, okay. I might struggle with that.
Because I didn't realise the athleticism that the drivers have to have before we started dating and talking about this sort of thing. Yeah. I had no idea. And I didn't cross my mind.
Bored you to death with it. Yeah, it's not like Aris when you just go down a pub and throw fucking sharp things at a circle.
Yeah, and now I'm on the F1 subreddit.
Yeah.
So I can keep up with you.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, he doesn't look like a racing driver at all.
Right, yeah.
So you've got to, first of all, there's that. I wonder who else they were looking at. I
did read somewhere that they considered Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, did they?
I don't know if Leonardo DiCaprio's considered them.
I very much doubt that he did. This is post Titanic Leonardo DiCaprio.
It is, yeah.
Okay. I don't love that anyway, that casting. But yeah. I don't know who else you would have cast, particularly at that time. But Kip Pardue was not even someone I'd ever heard of at that time. And I think I've seen 3 Kip Pardue movies, one being Driven, the other 2 you showed me in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he's in a few that I like. He's in The Rules of Attraction, which kind of gets shit on a little bit, but I quite like it.
Was that the Bateman thing?
Kind of, yeah. It's a Bret Easton Ellis story.
Right.
With very, very loose ties to American Psycho.
Is it cousin of Patrick?
Oh, brother.
Right.
I don't think we're sure.
Played by James Vanderbeek.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you do remember?
I do remember, yeah.
He was in a pretty bad remake of The Wizard of Gore.
A remake of what?
The Wizard of Gore. It's a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie.
All right.
The remake was not good. And he's in But I'm a Cheerleader, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, of course. I have seen that too. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that was a fun movie. I've seen way more Kip Pardue stuff than I care to realise.
Right?
Yeah.
And a couple of Bourne films. We watched the first Bourne film.
Was he in the Bourne films?
I believe so,
Is he a Treadstone?
I think so.
Oh, right. Well, we watched the first one recently, so I'm guessing it's in 2 and 3.
He's definitely in Supremacy. Yeah, I think he's in Supremacy.
I can never remember which one's 2 and 3.
One of them is Ultimatum.
Yeah. I know.
Which I think is 3. I don't know. Look, it's been a while.
Yeah, I know you've got Supremacy and Ultimatum, but I can't remember which one is number 2.
I'm pretty sure it's Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum.
Okay.
You'll have to take my word for that. But anyway, we have seen much more of his back catalogue than either of us imagined.
Yeah, which is surprising because after watching this movie, you'd think, oh, his career's over. But he carried on. He must have a great agent. It's definitely not his brother, who's a piece of wood.
No, he's not a piece of wood.
I think he is a piece of wood.
But do you think a piece of wood could react that well? A piece of wood couldn't tear their sunglasses off.
Yeah, there's lots of that. There's lots of tearing your sunglasses off and smiling or like just shaking your head like, oh no. And most of it's by I didn't write down the actor's name, but the guy
Robert Sean Leonard.
Robert Sean Leonard, who plays, he's got a name and it's a funny one. What's his name? Delane?
I can't remember. I'm guessing it ends in Bly.
Yeah. On account of them being brothers.
Yeah.
They might not. I mean, they might be adopted brothers.
That's true. That's true.
They might be brothers from another mother.
They didn't look a thing alike.
No, they really didn't, did they? Oh, DeMille. It's called DeMille Bly.
Of course, yeah. Why not?
We call him DB. He wasn't good in this.
Nobody was good in this.
But I don't. Are you familiar with that actor?
Robert Sean Leonard?
Yeah.
Only vaguely. He was in a Whit Stillman movie called The Last Days of Disco that I used to really like.
Okay.
He's not done a great deal that I am overjoyed about, but
is that pre-driven or post-driven?
Oh, I want to say that was about 98.
Okay.
Late 90s. So
you've not seen him since 2001, is
no.
it? Okay.
How many careers did this movie end? Not enough.
Not enough. Yeah, that's the answer to that question. Yeah, I mean, he's probably my least favourite character in this film, if you can imagine such. Perhaps Gina Gershon is my least favourite character, actually.
Oh, I love Gina Gershon, but her character was atrocious in this.
Terribly underwritten.
So annoying.
But she's unnecessary to the. Like, I can understand if you're going to watch if there was a 4-hour version, which I would watch.
Of course you would.
I can understand there being all of these characters and the interconnection, and it's more of an ensemble. You get to spend time with all of these people and dig into their backstories and stuff in a Renny Harlin movie. But in the version that this is, her character has no place being here.
No.
You could have had the Memo character and not have her in it at all. I suppose it's a bit of a bummer if you shot loads of Gina Gershon stuff and you just cut her out of the film entirely. Because you need Memo for that scene that kind of ignites the third act and brings them together.
Was ignites a pun?
No, it wasn't. I mean, yes, it was intentionally one, yeah. But yeah, I was going to say perhaps DeMille is my least favourite. It's partly because he's really fucking annoying and whiny.
He's just... well, it's funny because one of your favourite lines in this film that you talk about a lot is... What am I, a piece of wood?
Yeah.
And I feel like, was that added at the last minute as a dig? Because that character is very wooden.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it. And the reason it's one of my favourite lines is because it's awful. But it's not a phrase for a start.
No.
What am I, a piece of wood? Like the closest phrase that comes to mind is like, it's like talking to a brick wall. But like, what does he mean by that?
Or like when people say like, what am I, chopped liver? Like I've heard that a lot in American stuff.
I've heard that too. You're right. So you got that. You've got probably so many other options. Like, and I ain't even got a thesaurus here. But like Sly, 40 drafts. That's the 40th version of that line that you came up with.
No, I'm telling you, somebody switcherooed it for the first draft.
Yeah, I think you must be right.
But it doesn't end there though, because there was another line where somebody called somebody else "you old fish." I'm just like. Nobody in the history of the world has ever put some of these words together in sequence. Also, like, there's no such thing as an old fish, is there? How long does a fish live? I mean...
Unless you're a whale. That's technically a fish, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's in the sea and it swims.
It's not a mammal.
Is it not a mammal?
It's not a mammal.
Does the mammals have to live on land?
Yeah.
Oh, do they? I think I've completely misunderstood what a mammal is. Are dolphins not mammals?
No.
Okay.
we should have this conversation later.
We should do a season on mammals and I'll put in like Moby Dick. You'll be like, that can't be it.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just so much. I don't know, that human beings don't say, but it kind of lines up with the performances, because one of my notes is just, this film is chock full of first day on Earth performances.
Explain.
It feels like it's everybody's first day on Earth because they don't do things or say things that humans do.
Yeah.
It's all very odd.
Yes.
And as much as I think a lot of that blame does lie with Sylvester Stallone, I feel like, but I feel like so much of it has to come down to direction. If everybody is sort of uniformly terrible, then it's Renny Harlin's fault, right?
Well, love him or hate him, Sly has made some really good movies. Like he can act. He is good at acting when there's a good script. You've got the original Rocky.
When he doesn't write it himself.
I think he is a good writer. But he's kind of, I think he can be.
What do you know, you old fish?
Very good. No, I think he's a good writer, but he's kind of got one idea. Yeah. Which is you've got to try your hardest to overcome the odds. And if you think and you're positive and you try hard, then you might do it.
Yeah. Oh, like, no, I've aged out. Now I'm the mentor.
Yeah. But that one idea, I really like that one idea of his. So when he does it well, I really like it.
Is that because you're a bit of a sucker for underdog stories and they often coincide?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Definitely. Just that like overcoming the odd situation, which is why I'm a big fan of some of the Rocky films and particularly Creed. I don't know if I've mentioned this before in podcasts. That's my favourite Rocky movie.
You've said that once or twice.
And I think that he's really good in something like Demolition Man. I think it might be my favourite Stallone movie just because I think he's perfect in it. He delivers the comedy lines very well, like he's a man out of time. It feels like he's perfectly cast in that. I don't think he had anything to do with the writing, but I think he delivers it perfectly. So when he's in a good project and all of the stars align, I think he's great. I don't think there's anyone better at action and delivering the good dialogue. As much as a big fan of Arnie I am, he wasn't. He never was the greatest actor.
No,
he got better as his career went on, but he was very good at what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Stallone was always he could do a bit more dramatic stuff if he wanted to, as well as the action stuff. And that's why I think when I was a kid, I was all about Arnie. But the older I've gotten, and I like Sly as well, but the older I've gotten, the more I sort of reach around to Sly movies. I reach back to those. I tend to be rewatching a lot of older Sly stuff than I am watching Arnie stuff these days.
Did you ever think maybe I shouldn't phrase it as a question since you just said you're a fan of his acting, but I don't think I ever thought I would watch a film where Sylvester Stallone was the best actor in it.
Okay. Yeah.
But then I guess he was probably trying a bit harder than everybody else, given that it was his material.
Yeah. Yeah, and also he probably knew the script like the back of his hand. He'd
written it 40 times, yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably practiced it in a mirror and everything. He knew exactly what to do.
I want to go back to this Kip Pardue being cast 3 days before filming.
Okay.
So, do you know what they filmed first?
The chicken or the egg? I don't know what the very first thing that they filmed was. I know the very first scene that Estella Warren filmed, which was in the nightclub. I think towards the middle of the movie when Sophia and Bo Brandenburg rekindle
romance.
Yeah, they get back together. He's like, come, I want to be do a marry on you. And she's like, oh yeah, great, I'll come back crawling back then, fine. Apparently that was the first scene that Estella Warren had shot.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah. And Renny Harlin was a total shitbag to her because at that point he wasn't getting the performance. This is what he describes on a commentary that he wanted to get out of her. She wasn't delivering the emotional beats that were needed for that film. And the answer to that is don't cast Estella Warren in that role.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, I already hate Renny Harlin based on that. I know you said he's not the greatest person. I feel like, am I going to hate him profusely by the end of this episode?
Well, there was this. It was just maybe just one part in the commentary. He does seem a bit arrogant from the commentary, and he has his own website, which I've saved a copy of the link in my notes, so we'll get to that. But yeah, in that scene, what he describes is she wasn't delivering the performance that he was looking for. So what he did is he decided to berate her, put her down, call her names, be really quite personal and aggressive to her, to the point where she started crying. And then she delivered the scene. And the way he described it in the commentary, he's proud of it. He's like, I felt really bad in the moment, but we got the performance that we needed. I don't know if you did. And he also said, like, I felt really bad, but, you know, at the end of the shoot, Estella came up to me and sort of said, that felt really horrible, but thank you for doing that. Like, I got the performance.
Yeah, because she wants to work again.
Yeah, I guess so. And that's... But
I'm sorry, like my jaw is genuinely sort of slack right now.
Yeah, just like really mean, apparently, in that
So
scene.
he thinks he's Kubrick.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Like,
what a chum.
It's unacceptable for Stanley Kubrick. And if you're Renny Harlin, why do you think it's fucking acceptable for you? Did I say acceptable or unacceptable for Kubrick? I meant to, whatever I said, I meant to say it's unacceptable for Kubrick.
Yeah.
And he's one of the greats.
Not anymore. Was.
Well, he's dead now,
yeah.
Sarah. Didn't you know?
I do know. That's what I mean. He's no longer on this plane.
Imagine if Renny Harlin had directed A Clockwork Orange.
No.
Or 2001. Or, I'm going to say it.
Don't you dare.
I'm going to say it.
Don't you dare say it.
What if Renny Harlin...
Don't you dare. I'll leave you.
What if he directed The Shining?
Get out.
What if he directed a prequel to a much-loved horror movie that wasn't The Shining but was called The Exorcist? What if he did that?
He did he do that?
He did do that.
He did do that.
He did do that.
Wasn't it the fourth Exorcist movie? I can't remember what happened, but the original director didn't like pan out or something. And so two were kind of made in tandem from the same script.
Yeah.
One was him, one was Paul Schrader, I want to say.
Was it?
I think so.
Oh, I wonder which one's a better movie.
And I own them both and I've never seen them.
Oh, we have to watch both of them back to back and do a comparison on them on time. But yeah, so what if Renny Harlin had done a prequel to The Shining? What if he'd directed Doctor Strange, the sequel, instead of Mike Flanagan? We wouldn't be talking about it.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep.
I was going to say. I'm so confused right now.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, he's not the guy.
No.
He's not the guy.
No, God, no.
No.
And also, I'm sorry, just going back to the Estella Warren thing.
Yeah.
I have no stock in this whatsoever.
This movie.
Or her. Like, I don't give a shit about Estella Warren. I forgot she existed until you put this movie on last night. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's her that was in that terrible Planet of the Apes movie that Tim Burton shat out in the early 2000s that created a beef between him and Kevin Smith. But I'm sorry, I'm going to go to bat for her here.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You cast somebody based on seeing their swimsuit pictures in Sports Illustrated magazine and thought, she's my actress, she's my lead.
Yeah.
And then bullied her on set to try and get a better performance because she wasn't giving you what you wanted.
Yeah.
Get out.
And when has there ever been a knockout performance in a Renny Harlin movie? Like we said, we mentioned some of them earlier. Like Deep Blue Sea is a fun movie.
Oh, it's not good though.
It's probably not great. Long Kiss Goodnight, good movie, written by Shane Black. Gina Davis is great in that, but it's Gina Davis. And why are you choosing this moment to try and elicit some kind of performance that you think is like the emotional center of this film or whatever? Like, it's just unnecessary. It's 100% bullying. It's 100% unnecessary and unneeded for this film. Did you do that with fucking Kip Pardue? I don't think you did you? You probably didn't. And also, there's that scene in the movie where she's doing a big swim because she does a swim before this movie. She was a swimmer. Wasn't she a big swimmer?
Yeah.
Did her thing when she moves her legs in the air.
She's a synchronized swimmer.
Yeah. So she did that in this movie. And the reason that scene is in this movie is because, and I quote, she looks good in her underwear, according to Renny Harlin.
I hate Renny Harlin.
I told you, it doesn't seem great, but he seems quite proud of it. And this commentary was recorded in 2001. I'm not going to say it was a different time. It literally was a different time, obviously. But I mean, like, it was, I guess, less... You would get more pushback on that sort of thing these days, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah, you would. There's loads of shots in this movie that are just completely... It's like, let's look at the tits.
Oh, yeah.
And there's loads of that.
That still happens, though.
It does still happen, but it's not nowhere near as much. And
I think we're all a bit more aware of it now.
Yeah, and it depends on the film. This is not... The thing is about this film is that it's terrible.
Well, it's all about context as well. Like, the substance was full of shots of boobs and bums.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, this is about racing. You do get scantily clad women walking around in racing.
Yeah.
If you're doing a boxing or a fighting movie, yes, you get the women with the balls walking around with heels on and little tiny pants on or whatever. And it's part of it. And okay, that's fine. But
that character wasn't one of them.
But that character wasn't one of them. And also, it's like, everyone feels like, to me, Sly and Harlin, they really wanted to make a good racing movie. And they made like about 7 minutes of a good racing movie.
They made a racing movie.
They made a racing movie. But it feels like they were super proud of what they made. And it actually turned out to be quite good. And the defending of it, I couldn't hear much.
Not anymore.
I didn't hear much. I couldn't find much research into what Sly had described about it. What information have you got?
There was an interview, I can't remember with whom. There was an interview he did, and he was asked, "Is there a film you wish you hadn't made?" And he said, "This."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Renny Harlin describes it as one of the worst mistakes of his career as well.
Really?
Yeah, because it did kind of kill his career.
I suppose so. But like, he recorded that commentary. I imagine it was just like during post-production, just before the film came out, or just after maybe. Slap it on the DVD on release. It's going to be a huge movie. He seemed like he was very proud of it.
Well, hindsight's 2020
Yeah.
for a start. But also, we talked about this earlier on this season as well, and we've talked about Tommy Wiseau and The Room quite a bit in flop season. I feel like, obviously, you make a thing that you are proud of. I imagine that's the case for most filmmakers.
Yeah, you try.
Even if your film is bad, I'm sure you give it your best shot.
Yeah, of course.
So I think it's understandable to be proud of the thing that you've made, but obviously that doesn't account for audience reaction.
Yeah.
So if there's pushback, then yeah, you might start to go, "Oh God, am I wrong?"
Yeah. Maybe you do some self-analysis, God forbid.
Yeah, maybe you do some self-reflection and you reappraise your film and go, "Oh no, I was blinded this whole time. I was in an echo chamber of yes men, and actually this film's dog shit." And then you can, you've got one of two things to do at that point. You can either do the Tommy Wiseau and go, "Yeah, it was always meant to be a comedy,"
Yeah.
and then start making money doing screenings of it where people throw spoons at you.
Yeah.
Or you could be a Francis Ford Coppola and be like, "Megalopolis is still a masterpiece. I'm going to make it difficult for anybody to watch at home because it needs to be seen in cinemas."
Yeah, needs to be seen.
And just be a stuck-up arsehole about the whole thing. So it does sort of feel like they've both... I don't know what each scenario was that made them change their minds, but I think there's a number of factors that can contribute to a bit of a turnaround in opinion.
I guess so. I do love this film. I fully acknowledge it's a piece of shit. I can't. There's no denying that. We've spoken about this before. Watch a film when we want to watch a film. When we watch a film for the podcast, it is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I watched it that first time with the Renny Harlin commentary, it was way more obvious to me just how bad this movie is. The choppy editing, the over the top melodrama between characters, the fact that you introduce the journalist character who's writing the piece on male dominance in a sport, which is, it's not male dominated, it's just a male sport.
It's exclusively men that are drivers.
Yeah, we introduced this character Lucretia. They call her Luke, and she's introduced as a journalist, and she's writing a piece about male dominated.
I think it's just male dominance in the sport.
In the sport, in sport.
I think in the sport.
In this sport.
So this specific sport, whether that's F1 or kart, we don't know.
It's kart. It's not F1. Bernie wouldn't allow it. But yeah, and then it's never mentioned again.
Well, she's making notes.
Oh, did she have a little notepad?
She had an actual pen in her hand.
Right.
And then I think the next time we see her is when she's trying to get information out of Sly when he's playing pool.
Yeah.
Against no one and taking illegal shots, by the way.
Yeah.
And then she's got a little tape recorder.
That's right.
And then that's it.
And she insults him by calling his past colourful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then presumably she gets fired for not having submitted anything.
Yeah.
And it's never spoken of again.
And now she's just a car wife?
Yeah.
Which also is what Estella Warren is and what Gina Gershon is. They've got nothing else to do. They just hang around there.
Car wags.
Yeah. They're just like at the tracks. They let them have the little headphones and just talking to the drivers. Like, go on, baby, you can drive. It wouldn't happen. There's no way you're getting partners on. Imagine if you were driving and I was on the fucking. How distracting would that be?
Oh, terrible.
If I was like, oh no, you need to brake sooner than that, or no, you can accelerate quicker out of that corner. Shut up, Dan.
I'd rip the headphones off in a heartbeat.
You wouldn't hear me because you'd be humming your way around the track, trying to pick up those sweet coins.
That is the trick, so I'm told.
Okay, look, we have torn this film a new one. Like, it's not good. I've said already, I can't defend it. It's a piece of shit, objectively. But I do love it. I do enjoy watching this film. Partly is because the more I watch it, partly some of it is enjoying how bad it is. That piece of dialogue with the piece of wood thing, I love it. It's awful, but I just like, oh, why did you do this? But I love that you did.
But so what? Right, break it down for me. What are the elements about this film that you love?
Well, it's very simple. Cars.
I did ask you to dumb it down, I suppose. I heard that coming.
No, obviously there's the Sly thing. Okay, I'm on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
About cars, great. I've never seen Formula One, I beg your pardon, kart cars, open wheel cars, racing around in the city, even if you are CGI and just Sly's face. I think that sequence is great. I really enjoy that. I've never seen that before. Always wanted to see that in a movie.
Don't they get off with like a 25 grand fine though?
Yeah, it's not realistic, is it? They're in prison for 10 years.
Oh, there are deaths.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's also like related illnesses that people get. Like some people have like hearing problems after the cars drive past, and that woman who gets the skirt was zhuzhed up like that. Maybe the skirt whipped into her face and broke her nose or something.
Blinded her.
Yeah.
Flagrant disregard for other people's safety.
Yeah. The couple that was just sitting, just waiting for a bus at that bus stop, and the glass just cracked. Maybe some of that glass went into their scalp and they got brain damage from it. Like, who knows? Many people were affected by it, but I enjoyed it. And that's the main thing, isn't it?
Who cares about collateral damage?
Yeah. And you get some dodgy CGI in there. You mentioned Sly's face already. You get the
but at least it's funny.
It is funny. But there's that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that part of it too. And you get the manhole, and then you get that whole really like over the top speech about you got to get back to racing because you love it. And it's really like over the top, but I do sort of get into it as well. So there's that. There's 3 sequences in this film that I love. That's one of them. That's the middle one. The first one is completely absurd, but it's the part, and I think you probably realised I was like, oh, this is the bit. And that song comes on. I can never remember.
Oh, is it the bit with the coins?
It's the bit with the coins, yeah. And he flicks the coin up.
You've told me about that scene before.
I know.
You've just literally described it to me.
I think about it all the time. That's when you get introduced to his humming. He hums when he's pushing it to the edge, apparently, because you've got to have a thing, haven't you? You've got to have a little weird thing that separates you from everyone else.
Maybe he's got tinnitus and he's just trying to drown it out.
Yeah, maybe. But that sequence is that song, Money, Money, Money. Well, I can't remember what it's called, but it's that, which unfortunately was the title song to the TV show. The American thing with what was that? The Apprentice, the thing with Trump, unfortunately. Yeah, I think it was a song in that. But anyway, I digress. I love that scene. It's ridiculous because the setup is that he's going to flip the CGI on the floor, the CGI coins.
Oh, that wasn't real.
Wasn't real, Sarah.
Oh no,
they were fake coins.
They've pulled the wool over my eyes yet again.
Yeah. The CGI is not great in some of this, but some of it as well is surprisingly good for 2001.
I guess so, yeah.
But anyway, back to the coins. But the whole thing in that scene is that they're going to slide around the corners, pick up the coins, and not lose any time. Is they just going to slide around the corner and not lose any time?
Look, as somebody who has limited knowledge of racing and also limited knowledge of physics, I can tell you not possible.
Yeah. You're losing tenths upon tenths in those corners. It's absurd. But for every moment that's as ridiculous as that, like I can watch that and go, this is stupid, and I know that it's stupid, but also I enjoy it because it's you're suspending disbelief, you're taking artistic license, call it whatever you want. It does make for a more exciting scene. Is there stuff in this that is quite close to the truth though? Like, no. Did they? No, not at all. Nothing. I don't. Because it's weird to me that they originally intended to make some sort of biopic or movie about Senna or whatever. Yeah. And Sly was so dead set on making an F1 movie. It would surprise me if they just threw the rules and regulations and what's possible out the window. I think they were going for some kind of realism. They were like there's a scene where there's a crash and it's kind of the time is slowed down. Like that is what people describe when you're in kind of that situation. Time does feel like it's slowed down and everything's kind of whizzing past. What about like the tunnel vision? Tunnel vision is something that I was going to bring up. The tunnel vision is absolutely something that race car drivers describe. You just like everything around is kind of blurred and you're not really, it's just what's in front of you. All you're seeing is the racing line around a track. Mm-hmm. Apparently like that to me feels very realistic. All of the racing stuff, I mean, some of the passes that they do, particularly in the third act, to get past like 12 cars in the time that they're getting past them, the other cars would have to be sort of slowing down purposely to let them pass. It's unrealistic, especially when you've got one going on the inside, one going on the outside. It's not happening. Like racing is not that exciting, but the closest comparison, I take that back, racing is very exciting. There's nowhere near that amount of passes with two cars particularly like that are working together. And the closest comparison I can think of is Rocky, because boxing is not as exciting as it is in Rocky. Yeah. In Rocky, they're just punching each other and then they get punched back, and then they punch each other and they get punched back. It's not just the dancing around each other trying to connect with something for a long time. And then like they just sort of duck around for 2 minutes and then the bell goes and no one's fucking done a thing. No, they beat the shit out of each other in the Rocky movies. I think it's kind of like that, I think, where you get the spirit of it. Yeah, I've seen quite a few people actually liken this to Rocky. Yeah, well, obviously there's Stallone. You've obviously got that Stallone connection. And that was my favourite review, which we both, I think I saw that a couple of weeks ago on Letterboxd and you read it today. Yeah, I think my favourite part is when the cars started punching each other. Yeah. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah. There's some other stuff that I just haven't seen in films as well, like when they're racing around a track and you've got the reflection of the other car in the visor. Right, that's all CGI. That's some CGI stuff that I can't tell that that's CGI. There's loads of stuff in this that is CGI that you probably can't tell, and there's some CGI in it that you just go, why are you doing this? Particularly some of the shots when they're like quick zooming into the helmets and stuff like that. So it's a really weird experience for me because like I love it and I enjoy it, and there are some scenes that I'm like, oh, this is pure racing, but it's not very realistic in most of what it's showing. Yeah, and I can't defend it, but it's not the best racing movie ever made, but it's probably in my top 5 that I enjoy. Yeah, like the stuff that I've read does seem to suggest that they kind of wanted to pay homage to the real world of racing. Like, yeah, they've even got real drivers in the film. Yeah, that's what I mean. Montoya's like in this. Some cameos, I think Memo was named after 2 different drivers. Okay. Memo something and something Moreno, so they just like sandwiched the 2 names together for this fictionalized version. Some of the rituals
that drivers do.
Yeah.
Like there was that scene, I think, where one of them's taping a picture of a baby inside his helmet or something. apparently that was Renny Harlin's baby, which
Was
just
it?
makes it weirder. Why have you
That's really
taped a
weird.
picture of somebody else's baby inside your helmet?
Have a picture of my baby.
Have a look at that man's hard drive immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they did kind of pay attention to some of that stuff to try and, I guess, ground it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, you can tell that there's a love for it there, and I guess that's probably part of the appeal for me. You can tell there were some good intentions there, despite some of it being absolutely absurd. You've got that slow motion sequence before the final Detroit race, and you've got the real drivers in there, and also Renny Harlin, ego of egos, puts himself in that scene, and he's not a driver.
He's in the film twice.
He has two parts, yeah. And he's wearing a racing suit in both of them, both of those parts. There's the bit, I think he's in the bit just before the really exciting hopping sequence.
Hopping has never been so dramatic. I was laughing my arse off at that scene.
No, I was there. Yeah. He had to show his dedication, Sarah.
He did, yeah.
If only you tried that hard sooner. Hang on, mate, I've won loads of races. It's really hard driving. And you get a fucking car and drive.
It's because he was unwilling to hop on a broken foot.
Yeah. Yeah, he showed his worth at that point, and then everything changed. And then they had that little bit of the final sequence where they played a bit of drum and bass, a bit of Fatboy Slim, which is my other favourite part of the movie. And
Jimmy Bly was marginally less emo for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'd prefer if that was more of the movie. If there was more of that, the fun kind of quippy back and forth. If it was more of that, I don't know if it'd be a better movie, and I don't know if I could enjoy this more than I do, because I do really enjoy it. I don't know if I've mentioned that before.
You have, yeah.
But I don't know. It might have been a more fun movie in terms of the characters. It just goes way too melodramatic. It goes way too heavy on the drama, the love triangle stuff.
Oh, whip out the love triangle entirely.
Yeah.
Why does a woman have to be involved for them to have some sort of rivalry? They're already rivals.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you can have a rivalry.
You've just bloated the film with this extraneous character.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think there's just many characters in this that you could just whip out.
Yeah.
It's interesting enough. Like this film is made for fans of racing. So let's cater towards those. Maybe let's make a movie called F1 and put a 60-year-old man called Brad Pitt in a car, which I'm very excited for. It looks great. But you don't need that level of melodrama in this. Like you say, there's already a rivalry. There's already something interesting to dig into there, because you've got the rivalry, but you also have the camaraderie and the respect that there usually is between drivers.
That's enough.
It is enough. There's enough interesting stuff there. And like I say, if you cater it towards racing fans, that can be your movie.
Yeah, it puzzles me that there's like a 4-hour version, or they wanted it to be 4 hours. So they removed 2 hours of footage, but still kept in all that guff.
Yeah, it is curious. It must have been hard to edit this down to the 2 hours, but they put most of the stuff they cut out into montage, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think they used some stock footage as well.
Such as like
some of the racing stuff was stock footage.
Oh, really?
I did read it was sort of real kart racing from the 90s.
Right. Okay.
Not all of it.
Yeah.
So some of it was stock footage, some of it wasn't. Where do you think the bulk of the budget went in this film?
Well, a lot of it was how much was Sly paid for this? That's an interesting question.
Did he get paid 3 times?
Why? Because he wrote it,
writing credit,
produced it. So,
yeah.
Yes.
So, funnily enough, 2 other people are credited as story, and he's got credit as screenplay rather than writer.
Okay. Are any of them actors or directors?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But I do think it's funny that they gave 2 other people the credit for the story when it's the same story that's been made 58,000 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did think it was quite funny when, I think within 15 minutes of the film starting, you looked at me and went, "What's the story?"
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to get you to predict what would happen.
And did I?
Yeah.
Pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we've all seen it a million times. But
a lot of the I know that the sequence where they are driving in the rain, which is just before the third act where Memo has his accident.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about, because that is a stunt that was presumably so expensive they showed it from every conceivable angle.
Yeah.
Like, I love a stunt that's so pricey they show you the same thing 17 times.
That particular, not just that stunt, but that whole race was very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And perhaps, almost certainly, was the most expensive part of the movie. That stunt, obviously the car goes in the water and the actor playing Memo, sorry Memo, I didn't write down your name, but he was in the water with the car to get the car in the water in the first place, to push it up and to do all of have the actors there on a day in water.
The insurance alone.
The insurance would have been astronomical. Yeah, there's that. But also before that, just from the racing, what Harlin described in the commentary is that cars are racing around. You can't, if it's not right, well, your answer is, I guess, shoot when it's raining. But they could, maybe it's a safety thing. But so what they did was they shot bits of the race and they had rigs pouring water down onto the track. And they shot a bit and then they moved all of the rigs to the next part of the track.
God.
And they shot that. And then they moved and then they shot that. So like that would have been very time consuming, very expensive. All of that water just on set, just chucking water at the cars. The safety people, the amount of medics you must have had on set there. Super. Maybe you're whipping out like 10 million of the budget or whatever from that one sequence alone.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very good sequence. I think it's decent.
Genuinely quite memorable. I will say that.
Yeah, and there's parts of this movie that I really like, and that's definitely one of them. I think I've made you watch Rush, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a sequence in that where they're driving in the rain. And
is that the one with what's his face and Nicky Lauda?
Nicky Lauda is the real Nicky Lauda is the real guy. Daniel Brawl plays Nicky Lauda, and Thor Hemsworth.
Oh yes,
James
yeah, we have watched that.
We have watched it, and that's another movie that I love, and it's about cars. It's unsurprising.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, but that's a really good sort of racing in a race sequence, and this is good too. And you have the bit. Unfortunately, when you're driving and the CGI rain comes onto the visor of the helmet, but don't hate it. I think it's all right. You know, I can't defend this film. It's rubbish. I'm not going to defend it.
I knew this would be a role reversal of last week.
Yeah, it's crap. It's objectively crap. And if I wasn't into racing, I would hate it and I wouldn't watch it. But if you are into racing, I can't help but think that you probably do have this on your DVD shelf. And it's kind of a guilty pleasure. And yes, I do watch some of those scenes in isolation sometimes on YouTube. I'll go in and just see the bit when the Fatboy Slim track comes on. He goes, like, "Oh, you're an old man." He goes, "No, yeah, I'm an old man, but I'm gonna still keep up with you, Jimmy Blyer." And they go down, and they put their foot down. Because did you know if you want to overtake someone, you just go faster?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I did learn things watching this film.
I love it when they do the camera zoom, and they do it on all car movies. They do the zoom into the foot. And they just go whoop like that. It's like, oh, so you just have to put your foot down a bit then, do you? As simple as that. There's not many films that really get the essence of like what it is to follow the racing line, and be in the slipstream, get the toe of the car in front of you and pass them at the correct moment. There's not many films that actually do that well.
Did Gran Turismo do that?
Gran Turismo's pretty good on the racing. I would say Ford v Ferrari is excellent on the racing.
I haven't seen that one.
Have you not?
No.
Oh
no.
Well, we must rectify that very soon.
Oh shit! What have I done?
Yeah, I think the thing is about Ford v Ferrari is that it's just an all-round excellent movie. The racing's really good. The acting's brilliant. The story's fascinating, particularly if you like that sort of thing. Another one that is a guilty pleasure is Need for Speed, which was kind of, I think the options were this, Judge Dredd, or Need for Speed. But I enjoy that one. Kind of the racing's very good in that, as well as a lot of practical stuff in that. There's way more practical stuff in that movie than there is in this film. So I guess by definition, it's kind of more realistic. But there's not many films that actually nail the racing experience. I feel like this film does a relatively good job at some of the spirit of it, like overcoming psychological issues, committing to something, if like that kind of attitude, I guess. But I guess that's just sports movies in general, really.
So going back to last week again, we
Tank
talked
Girl.
about the idea of Tank Girl being remade. Would
Yeah.
you be up for a remake of
Oh,
Driven?
hell yeah. Yeah, I would.
How would you change it?
Well, I'd make it good. I want it to be good.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah.
I'd never thought of that.
Well, make it about Formula One.
Yeah, okay.
Because some of those tracks in America, they're just circles. I don't know, like, that's not exciting to me. So make it about Formula One. Maybe, I don't know who I would cast. I would make it, I don't know. I think I would, obviously I wouldn't cast Sly in a remake, but I probably would be more interested in that character returning to the sport after some kind of...
Maybe he's the Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so it's like
with
a legacy.
With a less taut face.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd sort of maybe make it more about that character returning after being like in an accident or whatever. Like an interesting movie to me would be Daniel, like if it was Daniel Ricciardo, if it was based on him, for example, who's a racer that everyone loves, really funny guy, but kind of underperformed in his career, and it's quite sad that he doesn't have a seat anymore. But make it about him getting a seat again. This really charismatic guy. It's the underdog thing where he never really reached the kind of level that you thought that he would. He had the skill, but never quite got there. But really nice, likable guy. He's got the charisma, and then he starts to win, and you can really get behind that character. So I'd maybe make it about Sly, but let's call him Daniel Ricciardo. Make him Australian.
Okay.
I don't know who else to cast. I wouldn't cast Kip Pardue. And I'd really just get a new script. Renny Harlin's not allowed anywhere near it.
So to improve it, remove the romance element entirely. Make the rivalry between the two primary drivers have homoerotic undertones.
Yeah.
And actually they're fighting their feelings for one another.
I like that idea, actually, yeah.
And then at the end they get therapy and live happily ever after.
Yeah. And you can really dig into like how this male-dominated sport works.
Yeah, don't bring back the journalist though.
You don't need to, but you can explore those themes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what themes they're going to explore in the Formula One movie.
Car go fast.
Yeah, I think so. Car go fast and look good.
Yeah.
Car go fast and this real car that go fast.
I
Big
think
sound.
That's probably going to be the extent of it.
Yeah, and I can't wait.
So, we watched Driven.
Yes. Finally, you watched it with me.
Yes.
And we covered it. I was dead excited for this one to watch it and record the episode on it. And I'm sad that it's now over.
So would you watch it with me again though, knowing that I was going to be a sarcastic bitch throughout? Would you?
It's part of the fun. I enjoyed watching
it.
Then
in that case, I would tentatively watch this movie
again.
Let's
just smash in a load of beers and just have a good time, just tearing it a new one. Because I said many times, this is not a good film.
No.
And I can fully admit that. And there's stuff that makes me roar with laughter. That "what am I, a piece of wood" line, for example. Don't be an old fish. Like, it's ridiculous, the stuff in this. And even some of the racing stuff is so absurd and unrealistic that you can't do anything else but laugh at it, even if you're a fan of this stuff. So, like, I'm not so married to it that I'm like, oh no, she's laughing at this film that I love. Because it's crap.
Yeah.
It's total dog shit. But I love it. And it's fun. And if we can share it, I'd be happy.
Okay.
So does that mean you're also going to be watching it yearly like me?
Yearly? I don't know about yearly.
All right, you don't have to watch it yearly. How many times have I watched some of your films that you like?
You have watched Empire Records multiple times.
I watched that yearly.
You do? Yeah.
I need a yearly one. What's my yearly one going to be?
Maybe it can be, all right, maybe it can be Driven.
All right.
We'll assign a day to Driven.
I think that's fair. If you get Empire Records, I should get Driven, I think.
We have Rex Manning Day, and then we'll have Joe Tanto Day later on in the year.
I wonder what day Joe Tanto Day is.
I don't know.
January the 3rd. JT. January the 30th.
Okay.
Let's not do the 3rd because that's too close to Christmas. Oh, that is the Christmas period. We could watch it at Christmas. Oh. And the Formula One season's not on then as well, so I can get my racing fix.
What are we doing next week, Dan?
I was getting onto that because we were talking about films that you've made me watch many, many times.
Mhm.
And that is a film that we're covering next week, Sarah. It's back to you, so I think you should introduce what we're doing next week.
I'm so excited.
I know you
I'm
just...
so like vibrating with excitement.
I can see you vibrating on the chair.
We are doing Labyrinth.
Labyrinth. Yeah. Yeah.
Get ready for that soundtrack for the next week.
I didn't know that this was a flop.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder why.
I don't know why.
I mean, it's a pretty hard sell. It's a strange film.
It is a strange film, but
We'll talk more about that.
We'll get into it next week.